All right, part 3, we are looking at reading disabilities, dyslexia, which is a severe reading disability, and mild to moderate reading disabilities. We are going to start a journey into the brain. Reading and the brain. You can read that at your own leisure. First, 5 nonsensical ideas that seem to make sense, common sense, lore, but in reality are nonsense. The idea that reading is sounding out words. If we teach students to sound out words, they'll be able to read. That's nonsense. The idea that poor readers simply need more practice sounding out words, i.e., give the child more phonics, more phonics, more phonics, and eventually they'll catch up. If a child doesn't know how to read, send him down the hall to the fix-it-up chappie, give them more phonics, and they'll catch up, and they'll come back good as new. That never works. Having students practice sounding out words makes learning to read easier. Nonsense. If a reader stumbles on a word, you should ask them to sound it out. Actually, that is the most inefficient way to recognize a word. It takes the most cognitive space. And there is one approach to reading that works best. Nonsense, of course. There's one method that you need to get. If you only get the right method, then all children would learn to read. That's nonsense. Oh, it says research on the package. It must be good. Nonsense. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. Here is sense. Reading is creating meaning with print. Our brain looks at those symbols and creates meaning. Without meaning, you are not reading. Students with reading disabilities, they don't benefit from isolated skills. They benefit from a holistic approach that is tailored to their special need. And we're going to look. There are 3 basic causes of reading disabilities or dyslexia. Students with reading disabilities, they can read, they get the whole idea of letter sounds, they just can't read very well. So, students with reading disabilities, students with dyslexia, need practice, practice, practice at the independent level or below. Easy stuff they need to practice. And that's where Capstone comes in, because they have a plethora of high-low books, high interest, low reading ability online, thousands of them. So adolescents can practice reading stuff at their level that is of interest to them. The phonological model, the bottom up, is inadequate, and I'll show you what that is in about 7 seconds. But it's what is commonly used to make sense of reading, what is commonly thought of as reading. But it does not describe how the brain creates meaning with print. This is the phonological processing model. Words appear on the page. They go in to the brain, the thalamus specifically. You process, 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 and then that information goes from the page to the cortex, or the neocortex, if you will. That does not describe what happens. It's a limited view of reading. It posits that words move from the page to the thalamus right there. See, it comes in through the eyes, whoop, goes to that, whoop, and then goes to your cortex here. Doesn't work that way. There's the brain. You can see the thalamus is kind of stuck in there. See it right there? And there's the cerebral cortex. Comes in here, goes right there, whoop, and then goes there. That one-way flow. That's wrong. That's inadequate. I'm going to show you a better way. Reading is creating meaning with text. I've said that about 17 times. I'll say it 27 times more. I can sound this out. Mia no mucus omitum laboratis ex eo. All right? But I am not creating meaning because I do not understand it. Sounding out words is different from reading. Reading is a thinking process, not a responding process. We're not teaching them to respond like Skinner mice in a Skinner box or Pavlov's dog. The interactive model or transactive model of reading best describes the process from both a neurological point of view and a cognitive point point of view or the view of cognitive psychology. It is a meaning-making process. Our brains naturally try to create order from the things around us. This says that what is in the head transacts with what's on the page to create meaning. That is the transactive approach.